I never really know how to start off these videos, so here's a picture of my dog. After playing the Pikmin 4 demo a little more, I'm now realizing how significant of a role they gave Oatchi. But that got me wondering, does Oatchi take away from the Pikmin experience? I know his inclusion was quite controversial when he was first announced, but as time went on, more and more people grew to love him. Now that we can finally see him in action, I think it's a good time to evaluate his role in the game. Personally, I love the inclusion of Oatchi. I think he's adorable, plays well, and Nintendo really made him the star of the show. But I'm gonna try and keep my personal bias out of this, just so we can get a more objective look at Oatchi. Starting off with his design, Oatchi is cute. At first, the fact that he didn't have a nose threw me off. Then I saw this image and instantly changed my mind. Nintendo made him a distinct and bright orange color, so we can easily differentiate him from other Pikmin. Although he doesn't look like your typical dog, Nintendo did a very good job of making Oatchi feel and act like a real rescue dog. The way he animates himself and moves around feels very natural for a creature his size. He's fast, but pudgy, and his size reflects his movements well. His audio effects and bark really make him sound like he's an alien from space that just so happens to be a dog too. There's not much else to say about his design other than he has some dark orange spots, a pom-pom tail, and it looks like his eyes are popping out of his head. Kind of like a pug. Now at this point in time, I can't say much about his role in the story, but I do feel like Oatchi will have a significant impact on a few events that take place in the game. Maybe he gets kidnapped for a bit and we have to play without Oatchi for a while. Maybe Oatchi is the secret villain of the game, and he's the final boss. Yeah, no. I still think it's the Umibozu. But all we know about Oatchi so far is that he's a trained rescue dog, a part of the rescue corps. He was trained by Shepard, presumably as a puppy, and grew up to become the goodest boy in the Pikmin universe. Design and lore are both very important, but at the end of the day, Pikmin 4 is still a video game. And if Oatchi doesn't cooperate well with the flow of Pikmin, his inclusion could be detrimental to the game. So let's take a look at his abilities. On the English Nintendo website, we see that Oatchi has the ability to clear obstacles, carry items, locate castaways, can be ridden, and can be controlled by the player. In the June Direct trailer, we also see that he had his own health bar, upgrades, and can even fight for himself. Now, before we got this information, I was scared Oatchi was going to be a liability and Nintendo was just going to shove his existence down our throats. I was worried that Oatchi wouldn't attribute anything to the game and instead be more of a necessity than a pleasure to use. But after giving the demo a try, I'm glad to say I was wrong. The absolute first thing we do in the demo is learn how to control our space dog, even before we get the Pikmin. His moveset is simple but very helpful. Some of Oatchi's abilities like carrying items, attacking enemies, and pulling potted plants can also be done by the Pikmin. However, Oatchi's exclusive abilities are where he shines. Let's start with the most underwhelming new ability, and that's being able to track things. Castaways, treasures, or the next destination, Oatchi can find it for you. Essentially, it's just an over-glorified prototype detector that locates basically everything. Being able to ride him was a great addition for multiple reasons. We can now travel faster and we won't need to worry about leaving Pikmin behind. This is a great quality of life change from the last games. It's a much safer option in battle because the Pikmin don't get scattered all over the place. Oatchi's charge ability is a solid addition. I kinda see it as an excuse to get more use out of him, having to constantly break down the vases. In order to unlock certain parts of the map, all you need to do is have Oatchi in your party and hold the X button. If the mechanic remains this simple throughout the game, it'll be kind of disappointing. The cool thing about his charge though, is that it's great in combat. It can also help Pikmin destroy walls and more. His charge also has the ability to go through conveyor belts, but I don't know how many of those we'll be seeing. On the contrary, if you just tap the X button, you'll be able to jump a small height. I believe this is one of the greatest additions to Pikmin. I know it sounds lame, but after 4 years, we finally have the ability to jump. It's pretty funny when you think about it, but this adds more verticality to the levels, something that was nearly non-existent in all previous, Pikmin games. Finally, we have the most important ability of Oatchi, and that's being able to play as him. In my playthrough, I found myself using Oatchi more than my own captain. I love the fact that he can do everything the captain does and more. A downside, but a nice balance feature, is Oatchi can't fit between the iron bars, locking him out of certain areas. Another difference is being that when you press X as Oatchi, he charges himself. But as the captain, when you charge X, the Pikmin charge forward instead. Aside from that, you're basically using Oatchi as a second captain. Unlocking the Go Here function is necessary to get the most out of Oatchi. The game can be optimized so much better now that we can have two captains doing completely separate tasks at the same time. This is much better than the Pikmin franchise following the captain trend and adding a 4th playable captain to this game. It would just get way too confusing. Nintendo using Oatchi as our 2nd captain who has slightly different functions to our player is an amazing addition. The upsetting part about Oatchi is that he's kind of busted. You can upgrade his charge, chomp, and probably a lot more with the full game release. I fear that Oatchi will deem Pikmin useless in some situations, and he already has. People are already doing Oatchi only runs because he's just so powerful. Subscribe to Wiggleman. But in my opinion, the most OP part of Oatchi is that he can't die. Trust me, I've tried to kill Oatchi many times. But whenever he dies, you can just go to the ship, wake him up unlimited times a day. He's basically a very strong, rideable, playable, controllable, and invincible Pikmin. But it's time for my thoughts. This is the part of the video where I get to be as biased as I want, and some of you won't like my opinion. To no one's surprise, Pikmin 4 seemed like a very easy game, and I've kind of accepted that as a fact. So even if Oatchi is absolutely busted, I could care less. If him alone made the game a lot easier, then I'd be tilted. But since the game is already pretty easy, to me it doesn't matter if Oatchi's broken. Other than him being overpowered, I really have no issues with him. In fact, he's probably my favorite addition to Pikmin 4. Playing as Oatchi is just so much fun. It's hilarious to see him command the Pikmin and whistle them back. Like, who would have thought in Pikmin 4 we'd be playing as a fucking dog? I found myself constantly laughing whenever Oatchi was on screen, and that's the most important part. At the end of the day, I've been waiting for this game for years, and I've already come to the conclusion that it won't be perfect. So the very least I can do is enjoy the game wherever I can. Playing as Oatchi made me feel something in a video game that I haven't felt in a long time. It was the feeling of pure joy. So I know I'm going back on my word, but I don't care how broken Oatchi is. Lately, people have forgot why we play video games. Back in the day, it was all about having fun and escaping reality. But now with the internet, video games have become a lot bigger than they ever were. And that's not a bad thing. I just wish people could learn to live in the moment again and appreciate what they're given, instead of constantly complaining about seemingly insignificant issues. Thank you, Oatchi, for giving me the best gaming experience I've had in a while. I'm really looking forward to playing as him in the full version of the game, and I know it'll be a blast. Thanks for watching.